What's up, people? This is your boy Gerald. It is October, November 3rd, 2016. How is everybody doing? Yeah, I know. I accidentally said October because it feels like you're still in October, but no, you're in November. And depending on where you are, if you stepped into a retail establishment, you already saw the fact that the Christmas tree is already waiting for you. As soon as you walk in the door, that Christmas tree is right there. What's going on, y'all? Mm, that's right. That constant reminder that you got to get your purse wide, your pockets deep. It's to let you know subconsciously, yes, there's no breathing room because the retail machine must keep churning out your hard earned money. How is everyone doing? So, I'm putting this video out, and it's because, do you see it? Does it make sense? So, what is it you're talking about, Gerald? All this narcissistic behavior. It's always been there. It's just depended on how and when you were going to allow the call fact from what it was. But see, I understand with so much going on in our world with flooding and fires and wannabe protesting and social unrest and unfortunate loss after loss after loss after loss. Just to wake up another day to see it even more. You do understand that this conditioning is what makes post-traumatic stress disorder. You do understand that, y'all. Some of y'all already know and should have a bronze star of that mindset because you were raised in that. A lot of discourse and dysfunctional, but all you wanted was to be happy. All you wanted to do was understand. All you wanted to do was to feel safe. But you're not feeling so safe these days now, are you? Because you are looking at your watch. You are looking at that tool known as your cell phone. You're looking at the daily dosage of propaganda to keep you focused on the things that should not be important. See, these are the things that make separation. These are also the things that support fear. You know, fear. Finally, everything's a reality. Because, see, once that fear is put in place, you don't have to worry because denial is right there. Delusion side by side. And misunderstanding is standing right before you. Let me tell you something, y'all. As long as I have air in my lungs, I want you to hear this. No matter where you are, no matter who has access to you, your life is priceless. And with that being said, you must come to terms that there will never be another you. So therefore, there must be investment. That means you got to roll up your sleeve and go within. How is it in 2016 there are still people that admit directly or indirectly that they hate who they are? How is that possible? Well, that just goes to show you what I've been echoing as of late. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. Can people change? Every day. It just depends on what has the value, what requires the motivation, and what will be the outcome. But it seems today, for least distraction equals biggest dysfunction, or least investment expecting higher result is the status quo. And it's sad because the price tag that will cost to be paid will be your time, will be your dreams, unfortunately, your life. But see, DJ Jazzy Jeff put an album out almost 4 or 5 years ago. And he had a song with Raheem DeVaughn, and it's one of my favorite songs that he did. It was called My Soul Is Not For Sale. But it seems like nowadays people are the epitome of the sellout at the lowest bidder. Now listen, y'all. I want you to understand something. You can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. Do you hear me? You can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. So, for all you people out there that have been trying to be loyal to those who are not loyal to you in return, I need you to be still. I need you to pick your head up. And I need you to love yourself more. But see, I understand, because there are people that want to bang the gong of, well, you know, you're not ride or die. But see, if the road is bumpy, the outcome is death. Some of y'all will get that. If the payment doesn't measure the result, there's no accountability. So you got to ask yourself, why? Why are you there? You know, they say to do something expecting a different result is insanity. But I also look at it as one that has loyalty with their denial. Sure, there's nothing wrong with being optimistic. No. Yes. As long as the optimism is pure. So you can't get a blessing if you don't do the work. Did you hear me? See, people think that, well, if I just do a little bit, Gerald, just a little bit to show face, that's enough. It's not enough. If that was the case, just having a half a breath that's in your body would be just enough. And you know that ain't the case. That's just like saying, just not tapping into your beautiful mind, that endless possibility inside you to subject your standards instead of seizing them. That is just enough. But guess what? That's what they want you to believe. Because they don't want you to see who you really are. Because if they did, they know they would have a problem. So what is going on? Our communities are showing the cracks, the crevices of dysfunction that has always been there for the last 50 years. See, it was okay long as it stayed out of public view of the common consumer, because they couldn't relate to that anyway, because that false sense of security that they only do that. But it only became a problem when it was next door, because you do understand that thugs can pay mortgages too. And what was the dark hand now becomes the white collar crime. But see, we are in a society where things are not being called out for what they are. They want to look at it as a softening the truth. Is that not the same as lying? If A and B equals C, why are you throwing D as an option? It's because people don't want you to see who you really are. So some of y'all might be walking around feeling a little numb. Some may feel a little loopy right now these days. And that's because of the exposure of all that propaganda that we know as media. You're exposed to it pretty much 24 hours a day, because some of you don't unplug from the lifeline. And what you do in the confounds of your personal space is your business. But if it does not offer happiness, if it does not reassure emotional safety, if it does not render empowerment, you have to ask why. Why is there loyalty there where there's no loyalty returned? Anything that lacks integrity gives and shows stagnation. And what is stagnation? Time released death. So, does it surprise you? And here's the funny thing about it, because the social structure that we see now, I saw this almost 30 years ago. I saw it when I was in Europe. And I saw the mindset that a lot of their communities were structured upon, and how there was a non-accountability and major heavy focus on deflection on what was needed compared to what was compromised. And what happened? Slowly but surely, the last 30 years, we've watched the European Union unravel. We've watched the economy tank. We've watched wars. Why? Because you had someone come in and say, hey, not only can I show you something more efficient, but something that will be less cost effective. And they went that route. Look at the union now. Last year was Brexit. And it's a matter of time. They're going to try to dissolve NATO. It's a matter of time. Because the focus on community. To have community, you must have unity. And when you look at the word community, the first thing you see in front of it is communication. So if we can't talk together, we can't stand together. But if we don't empower each other, we can't go forward. So we have always been in a fragmented mind state when it came to this nation. We know the math. We know who did the work. And we know what we have yet to do. But see, there is a sleight of hand going on right before you. Some of you see it. Some of you don't. And let me tell you something. Historically, this is also the setup to bring forth Sodom and Gomorrah. Because, see, they were doing the same things that's going on now. Oh, yeah, they were. They quickly had a anything goes mindset. They did. They It was as if Digital Underground was back there and they was like, do what you like. But if everybody does what they like, you have no connection. You have no community. You have a bunch of separation by individual display. For what? The almighty dollar? Your life is priceless. That's why you only got one. And the things that you do will not only set up those who will come from behind you, because some of us may have not forgotten what our elders told you. You know, you remember that conversation you had with your grandmother or your grandfather, because at one time there was a patriarchy of the grandfather and the granddad. He was somewhere around, probably tinkering in his garage or out there sitting on a porch or in the yard, but he was there. Grandma was there too. And there was a balance. What, these last 3 years? Sorry, these last 35 plus years? They're trying to turn the grandfather position into history. So, do you understand why there's been such a failure in manhood? Because you have so many that don't know what being a man is all about. And I've expressed this. You cannot earn that title until you have a relationship with him first. Until you make a decision that your life matters, your dreams matter, your self-worth matters. Can you change your reality as you see it? Now, here comes some courage. Ready? Some of you are going to have to deal with the fact of knowing that people in your intermediate relations, family, friends, co-workers, you're going to have to accept that they never had your best interest. Some of you are going to have to come to terms of accepting that they never loved you. You have to come to terms with that because you exist. You still have to live your life, just like they have to live theirs. See, at the end of the day, you should not be ransoming your peace of mind. How about your rest? Why are you going to sleep with an additive? Well, I can't go to sleep unless I have a couple hooks. I can't go to sleep unless I get in. I can't go to sleep unless I'm on cloud nine. Escapism. Because socially, that was the option. And there were more options for you, but those were used against you. Who am I talking to? You've actually had people in time of anger. You know what? Let me throw that out there too. You know how sometimes you may have had that conflict, and then in the midst of that conflict that you were unaware of, mhm, it might have hurt your feelings, enlightened you. You do understand that at that moment, opportunity to seize the truth. You got to understand there are people that have already consciously divorced themselves. They may have done it at a young age. They have this facade about who they are. We know that as alter egos or facades. You see a lot of that on social media. That's why unfortunately, you've seen situations where a person is empowered to say whatever they needed to say in the confines and the safety of their location. But then when you see them in person, they get amnesia. They see you and run. I've had that happen to me a couple times. People see me come around the corner and they give up the ghost, so to speak. Not that I had ill intent. See, listen, I don't have time to watch your demise. I don't. That's not who I am. It's not. Because at the end of the day, I know this. We're not borrowed. We're not guaranteed we're gonna see tomorrow. You do understand that. You may work a fruitful day of whatever your labor is and lay down and not wake up. You may just be relaxing and then your heart stops. You may think that you are at the apex of your life and then it is taken away. Why? Because you still got work you have to do. So when the conflict comes, welcome it. Because what is being shown is the authentic self and moment that supports it. So when they're coming at you and just know this, people have the right to have their opinion. They don't have the right to violate your personal space. Did you hear me? But guess what? If they're up in arms, there's a reason why they're up in arms. Maybe deep down inside, they don't have the courage to ask you why and what makes you. Maybe they're envious of that. But don't hang your hat on that. Don't hang your hat on it, because you got a lot of people that think, well, I got it going on, and then life has a way of bringing you down. Life has a way of balancing all things. That's why I tell everybody, right now there's a lot of people think they're winning. And little do they know, in the intended time and intended moment, all things balance themselves out. Just like all things that are hidden come full circle, because it's truth. It's truth. So let me ask you this. Who convinced you not to love you? Who convinced you not to grow? Who convinced you not to tap into your greatest resource in your mind? You've heard the cliche, if you believe, you can achieve. Speak it into existence. But it means nothing if you don't have a connection to self to begin with. If you don't believe it, how are you expecting them to? So I can only convey this to you because I know in the back of your mind, some of y'all gonna make an important decision next week. All I can say is do the research and ensure that whatever your choice truly represents you. If you're a parent, it represents your family. And when you decide to do the research, just don't stop at the first bullet point. Go deeper. Sometimes truth looks ugly. Sometimes change is not smooth. Why would you change anything if there's nothing wrong? Why would you complain if it was right? So I can't convey that to you anymore. Do the research for yourself and make your decision on whatever your conscience tells you to do. Because trust and believe, there are going to be some people that will not have the courage to speak their truth. They will tell you what you want to hear, only for the truth to be forced up and out through the situation. Who am I talking to? You thought your relationship was going to last forever, but now you're looking at that person as if you never knew each other. See, a divided house can't stand. And people keep ignoring the fact that there is a spiritual hierarchy involved. I thought it was kind of ironic yesterday that the Pope made it loud and clear that he doesn't want females to be priests. Okay. I was kind of amazed that he spoke that, but to be a bishop, don't you have to go into the priesthood? Hmm? Yeah. Now, I want you guys to love yourselves. Maybe this might be the first time in your life that you will actually roll your sleeves up and do something that matters. But I think some of y'all already knew this for a long time. You you were like, you know what, Gerald, I don't want to rock the boat, but I know this is wrong. I know this is wrong. Maybe that's the reason why you're having the dreams that you're having these days. And you can't get them out. You do understand that it's nothing but the real you trying to connect back to the physical you. You don't actually think this is you, do you? You owe all your marriage to that little boy and that little girl. Yeah, you know, the one that used to scoot around the room or poop in his pants or fell on the monkey bars and got that scrape and got back up. Or that little girl with the ponytails, with the barrettes, with the big old eyes like diamonds, and endless possibilities. You owe them. You owe them your life. You know, let's change. Let's change the conversation. Um, be careful who you idolize. I don't have to tell you God's position on that because we already know that God is a jealous but loving God. And that's the reason why he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah too. But I've learned through the years that the power of the word, it can move mountains socially. It can impact the individual by way of internalizing it, not only with your intellect, but your emotions. These are the foundations that make critical thinking. And it seems that people, as they elevate financially, a piece of them is thrown to the side to the point that they don't even realize or can identify who they really are. You know, you know, ladies, the person that you are that steps out in the world is not the woman that looks in the mirror when the makeup is gone. You're two different people. But I saw something uh was it today? And I don't really, it's not my business. But I saw a post that Amber Rose posted that, you know, she's always wanted to throw her little 2 cents in what other people's business. Um, but there was a slight innuendo of where she was saying, well, if I was in the same situation of uh, Kimberly Kardashian West, I would suck him off. And she put this image of a woman giving fellatio to Michael Myers. For those who do not know who Michael Myers is, Michael Myers was the villain in the Halloween franchise. And it made me feel a certain kind of way because it made me also think about what Madonna said in her concert about pushing the vote. And she said, I don't know if she was promoting for Hillary or Donald Trump, but she more or less said, if you vote for that candidate, I would suck you off. And I swallowed. Now, mind you, what you do in the confounds of your home is your business. And it just, do you not see the blatant disregard for your moral compass? I'll do one better. Do you not see the blatant disregard for what your children may be exposed to? Because they're trying so hard to blur the lines. They're trying, and when I think about it, I wonder. It makes me think about Robin Thicke, the song "Blurred Lines," because he sang it. But metaphorically, when you think about it, that's what blurred lines is all about. Blurred lines is about mixing of the truth, the gray between right or wrong. But don't you realize, in the gray is the dominion of the devil. The prize is your perception. The reward is death. See, the devil can't possess you, possess your spirit, unless you willfully give it to him. And all he does is like somebody sitting down, and metaphorically, your life is a 2,000-piece puzzle, and he puts puzzle pieces where they fall. He's doing that to sway your motivation until you see the bigger picture. Some pitch win and they turn. Some put that last piece in place only to embrace oblivion. Nothing. What is a man to inherit the earth by way of his soul? It's not worth it. It's not. But society wants you to have a mindset that is so narcissistic. They want you to embrace the mindset of a sociopath or a schizophrenic, where you do understand that a schizophrenic, untreated, becomes a sociopath, right? And before that sociopath is identified, he's got bipolar traits. So therefore, there's an internal battle going on between right or wrong, from empathy and compassion to blatant disrespect, which are all triggers. And what's a trigger? A motivation to get you to act. But if you don't see your worth, you'll never understand your truth, because you won't understand what is happening before you. That's why I said there's no past, no benefit in playing the role of the martyr. You know what happens to martyrs? They get forgotten. They are nothing but the chink in the wheel for the agenda. Like right now, socially, there's been a major agenda for the last 40 years to convince women that you don't need a man. You don't need one. You can do it all yourself. But see, you forget one thing. Your logic is driven by emotion. That's why God gave you the third gift. He gave man two: to unconditionally love himself and free will. He gave women three: unconditionally love yourself, free will, but the gift, the gift, the gift, the gift, you know, that wedding ring, the gift, a nurturement. Doesn't matter how strong a tree is without the roots. No matter how strong that tree grows and how firm those branches outstretch, the foundation is supported by the roots. And what is the roots metaphorically? You. So does it surprise you? Which surprise really doesn't surprise me. You don't hear about this. You know our trees are dying, right? Didn't know that? Just look at this last hurricane. Trees that have been standing for over a century just toppling over like matchsticks. And you would wonder, well, how could it be that a tree that is over 100 feet in height is easily uprooted? Shouldn't the roots be just as long? But no, because we have to thank that those chemtrails for that. You know, that stuff that looks like tic-tac-toes. You don't actually think that the aircraft or, well, you know, that's just to heat off the engines. No, that's the spraying coming from the planes. And like gravity, what is up must come down, and therefore it lands on the trees. It lands on everything. And you're wondering why there's a decline in the honeybee. Without the honeybee, you can't have pollination. So if you don't have pollination between a male and a female, you have no fruit. Hmm? You ever thought about that? Meanwhile, we're constantly getting sick because we are what we eat. You do understand that. I know this, well, Joe, that's why I go organic, but are you pulling the vegetables out of the ground yourself? Are you going out there and slaughtering the livestock? How do you know? Anyone can make a label and say new and approved or free range. You don't know that. Is it possible? Yes. You see it in the pricing, but don't be fooled, because that's all about commercial deception too. But let's get back on task. Some of y'all, November 9th, are going to be pissed off. This is a fact. Some of y'all are going to be pissed off December, January, February of 2017, and so forth for the next 4 years, because you're going to see that what you were led to believe was a lie. Do the research. There are more than 2 candidates, there are 4. But just make sure that whoever you decide, they represent your best interest. And see, that's what corporate America does, because they're going to make sure their agendas are met. I heard somebody mention, I cannot think of who it was because I want to give them credit, that you do understand, in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, your greatest impact in your community is down on the lowest level, because it directly impacts you. You do understand that, right? Because you put these people in those seats. And those who have the most influence financially, they also get heard first. You don't believe me? For those who've had to deal with the court system, not to shade, but you remember that time when you saw a person go in and had to go stand before the judge, and the disposition of the judge towards that person with representation compared to without. That's the same print. That's the same precedence commercially. Big money gets big attention. That's why every time you eat, sleep, probably right now, you probably look to the right and you'll see, vote for me. What I want you to do is vote for you. I want you to be happy. I want you to stop running. I want you to stop thinking that you are less than him or less than her. When you decide to finally look that person in the mirror who is looking back, and you can tell them, I love you so much. I owe everything to you. And you deserve better. Until you can have that, you'll never be in peace. Grace Jones put a song out back in 88, 89. She said it was called Slave to the Rhythm. And that is exactly what's going on now, because you got a lot of slaves. dancing to the tune of their own individual lives and are waking up frustrated. Some of y'all are feeling kind of sickly nowadays because you're realizing that that person that's sleeping and that, oh yeah, look at him, look at her, look at him. They don't have your best interest. They never did. And you feel in a certain kind of way now. But guess what? Pain knows no time, only sustainment. And it will only increase until you decide to stop running. See, I happened to see the video of Florida rapper Trick Daddy, and he made comments about women, and he used the demographics of the white female, the Hispanic female, and the black female, and his narrative and approach to get his point across. But see, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you were blue. If you don't love yourself, you will not see your value. And if you don't see your value, you won't understand what is going on, nor will you understand your purpose. That's why advertisers make so much money, because they know 50% of the populace do this. They'll put something out and you take that as gospel without research. They'll take it in. Well, they said the sky was green. You know what? The sky green, y'all. Who told you that? Who convinced you to take that in? Because you see a constant familiar face that you don't know? Because you hear somebody on a constant basis? Come on. You do understand the motivation of the term sheeple. That is also the grease that also makes up the manipulation machine. See, a person can't be manipulated if they know who they are first, y'all. But they damn sure will try to use tools to lure you away from you. Who am I talking to? Meanwhile, you're trying to keep it together. You just one disappointment from losing it. Then I say lose it. Lose it. If it doesn't bring happiness, if it doesn't make you feel safe, if it doesn't empower you to be the best you, why are you holding on to it? Mm-hmm. What, for some temporary satisfaction? For an undisclosed period of time of loyalty? Loyalty to the highest motivation. For real? That's you basically saying you have a price. You ain't got no price. You priceless. But you know what? You still got some people gonna be like, doesn't matter what you say, Gerald. I'm still gonna do what I want to do. And I tell you this, get the hell out of their way. Get the hell out of their way. Why are you still having the same conversation with that person you didn't have for the last 6 months? If they valued what you said, starting with your time, why wouldn't they embrace something? Because they don't respect you. They want you to embrace them. Ask your little girlfriend, how's her progression in life been? How's her progression in her finances? Still got the same problems, don't you? And she still got you as her audience. Why? Because misery loves company. Mm-hmm. But see, you know what? I'm going to turn that part off. But just know this, y'all. The same things that have been going on are the same things that have been going on for the last 60 years. Mm-hmm. It's just not hitting no more. See, for the last 20 years, you had reality TV. Not on the level that it is, but guess what? Even your grandma, your granddad, their reality TV was the soaps. And before they were the soaps, they were called the serials because they had the radio. Your parents, when they were in their late teens and 20s, they had Falcon Crest and Dynasty. They sure did. And they emulated what would it be like to be an elite. Well, guess what? Even the elite can't be elite without support, which contradicts this. For you to think that I'm an independent person, well, you're living on an interdependent world. You can't live without support from somebody. But what if that somebody is not you? Huh? You ever thought about that? But the real people that give a damn about you have already told you this. And maybe have gotten to a point they said, well, you know what? I'm not going to watch you die slow. I love you too much to watch you go in pain. And they have let you. They have let you. But you've chosen your pride and ego over your protection and valued time. See, Jody ain't going to tell you that. Jody's going to play the part until Jody get exposed. Sarah's not going to tell you that. She's going to still be dancing her tune of seduction until you get tired of looking. But don't worry about it because Sarah's got somebody also enticed too. And the moment that you say no for the last time, she's already made the Pepsi switch. Look, your life is too precious to waste a tear. And don't you realize your tears should be shed in joy? But if your tears are flowing, let them. Because your tears will wash your soul. It'll take those impurities out of your heart. You know, them things that are holding you back. Because right now, the devil think he got you like this. Oh, I ain't worried about Shawnee. I just throw her some money because that's how I get her to move. Oh, I ain't worried about Tyrone. I'll just give him something. I'll give him something he can hold on to, and I got him. And see, that's the problem. You notice the higher the people go up in the economic structure, the less of themselves they have. Oh yeah, they willfully put that collar on because they bought, sold, and distributed to push the agenda. But let's talk about that 1%. Because without a collective, you got no movement. But there is a silent 1% that has been preparing the moment that they fell back in love with themselves, the moment that they decided to place God first in everything they do. And they are being still. They are watching what God has shown them. And they're trusting his guidance through their prayers. So they're getting their validation by ways of signs and wonders. Oh, yes, synchronicity is real, y'all. So is serendipity. But the common denominator in that is soul. So you can't have a soulmate unless you have a relationship with your soul. That's why karma happens. No, that's another term for someone that wanted to rationalize their bad behavior without taking any accountability for the choices that they make because it falls back on free will. Gerald, he put his hands on me, but you got in the car and put yourself in harm's way. Gerald, he disrespected me. Why didn't you get the cops involved? You can't have it both ways. So we watch Scottie Pippen get vilified in the media. Gotta love TMZ for that. Because they know 50% of the populace is all in their emotions and not looking at fact. No one gets a reward in bad behavior. You do understand that, huh? Mm-hmm. If you were so miserable in your relationship, why are you there? Mm-hmm. Huh? Why are you there? Why are you there? Huh? He don't get me, but he's had you. He's had you all along. But why are you there? Well, I'm doing it for the kids, but you're teaching your kids what dysfunctional relationships are because you don't have one with yourself because you put your material possessions before your happiness. Hmm. But I understand you don't want to hear the truth because you say, well, that's just paying dues. No, your heart's not for sale. And even though your girlfriend's put a price tag on her backside, you will quickly see her lose it all. You will watch him fall. They all fall. That's what the devil does. Whatever I got to do to get you away from you makes the possession easier. That's how he thinks. And we wonder why there's so many disfranchised families because daddy's not there. But you picked him. There's no amount of money in the world that can make him knock on your temple doors without you allowing that. Otherwise, that would be what? That would be rape. That would be sodomy. But he's an athlete, Gerald. He can facilitate my dreams. Nobody can facilitate your dreams but you. And as long as you keep that mindset that the ticket to success is having a baby, haven't you realized you can't keep a man because you have a child? You might keep his routing number, but you'll never have his heart. Only to scrutinize what should have been a blessing. Oh, you do understand that, right? Why you think there is sibling nepotism? The golden child, the scapegoat. The golden child is good to go because that's what mom wanted all along. The scapegoat can't get right no matter what because she can't accept the truth of a failure of herself. Remember, no one can open the door but you. You unlock that. Now, that 1%, they ain't getting caught up on that. They have tunnel vision. And the focus is their purpose. And they're not going to compromise themselves. You might as well be trying to have a conversation with a brick wall if you think that they are going to divorce themselves. No. If God is in their life, only way you're gonna be able to have access to them is forge a relationship with yourself. Now, can people change? People can change all the time. They can. But if it's just to have access to someone, oh, you're gonna pay for that. Because real recognizes real. And truth hurts. But no matter what you do, don't get caught up on what seems great today. Do the research. And if it doesn't have the possibility to sustain, that ain't what you need, player. Because you know what happens to players? They get played. Don't be one of them. God's praying for you. You know who I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Why do you think he said this? Those who shall be first shall be made last, and those who are made last shall be made first. One, to teach you to value your life and the resources that come from within. Also, for you to understand, you may have the effects of your reality, but if you don't embrace your emotions, you won't understand why and how. See your worth, place God first, and watch what he shows you. Be blessed, y'all.